Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today for you guys, I have my own tier list of all of the meaties in the game. We have 53 meaties in the game. That includes spells. So I'm not including any leaders in this tier list. I've done a video on the leaders, so go check out that video if you guys want to. Obviously, leaders are stronger than meanies, so I think it's logical to have them separate into different videos. But yeah, this is, I think we're now at the version 2.0 of the game. The game is releasing on the 3rd of November, so we're maybe going to have some balance change then, and I might do another tier list. But yeah, so this is my first version of the tier list as of is right now. Obviously, we're going to have some new maps as well in PvP, so the tier list should keep changing every month with a new map, and new turrets and new stuff. But yeah, I guess we'll just jump right into it. But just before we do so, guys, please, if you love the content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're, like I mentioned earlier, game's releasing November 3rd, so I'm going to make so much more videos on the game. I have so many videos planned up. So yeah, if you want to be along for the ride, just click subscribe. It's free. Click down below. And let's get into it. But just one more thing, guys. It's really important for you guys to know that this is not subjective at all. I am the only one that has all the perfect answers, and I'm 100% correct. There's no interpretation, so please keep that in mind. With this tier list, I'm not going to make any mistake, and this tier list should be taken 100% seriously all the way through. All right, let's get into it. So I have no particular order. I have 5 tiers. So we have the S, the A, the B, the C, and we have the buff please tier because I want to see some buffs. You can see S as nerf please, but like I think some meaties are in the S tier and are in the S tier just because of the current meta. I don't really want them to be nerfed that much, but the buff please tier here, I really would appreciate seeing some buff in the game. And yeah, this is going to be pretty hard. I'm not even sure where to start here. I guess I'll just start with some things that can maybe set the bar for every one of those tiers. And I think, so let's say one of each in each tier. All right. So for S tier, I think it's safe to say we could put the Huntress, if I can find her. I think the S tier, the Huntress is a perfect example of what should be in the S tier. And a please buff, let's go for, how are they called? The Warsong Grunts, I think. They suck. They're too expensive for 6 gold. So I think this for me would be a buff, please. Or maybe, yeah, you know what? Let's do, let's put the Mountaineer here as well. Maybe going like that is maybe not the best idea because I can't seem to find them in the list. Anyway, Mountaineer is gonna go in buff please. Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna put go the first one in the list here. I'm gonna put Abomination. Abomination is probably B or C tier. Let's go with B. I might reorganize as I'm going through. We have 53 different units, so we might replace them. I'm going to try to put them from left to right also in a tier. So the left troop is going to be the best, and the right is going to be the worst in that tier, right? So, okay. Angry Chicken Army. I think Angry Chicken Army is C tier. I'm seeing less use of Angry Chicken Army than the Abomination, so I think this is perfect. Now we have a C tier, a B tier. Arcane Blast, it's an okay spell. I think I'm going to put it B tier. Yeah. Next up, we have Banshee. So Banshee has some use. I'm seeing it sometimes in PvP. For 4 gold, it's maybe a little bit too expensive, especially in the current meta. I think we're going to put Banshee in the B tier as well. B for Banshee. And next up, Bat Rider. I think we're gonna go B for Bat Rider as well, but probably lower. I would expect Bat Rider to be probably one of the last in the B tier. Maybe should go to C tier. Yeah. Okay, to me, Blizzard is a fantastic spell. I think it's the best spell, one of the best spell in the game, so I'm going to put it immediately in the S tier. For 4 gold, the amount of value you can get is just incredible. You can use Blizzard in offense, you can use Blizzard in defense, you can use Blizzard to make like a huge swing in momentum. Blizzard is just fantastic, especially when you pair it with obviously Jaina. But really, Blizzard and Huntress actually both can be played in basically any single deck, which I think is really fair to say that they're S tier because of that. Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning is an interesting one. I love Chain Lightning. I think I'm going to put it A tier. I think Chain Lightning has so much value. It's a 2 gold spell, which is for 2 gold, incredible. Some talents are also really good. I play the stun talent for the Chain Lightning. Yeah, also Chain Lightning is good to cycle to take down the opponent's miner, right? So in PvP, you can cycle back to your Chain Lightning if you cycle faster than your opponent, and every time he plays this miner, you can Chain Lightning. Yes, you're going to lose 1 gold, but luckily, if you play your miner, you should be able to get that gold back and maybe even more, or probably more. So I think Chain Lightning is pretty good. Solid A tier for me. Then we have Cheat Death, which I think is horrendous. I'm going to put it in the buff, please. So I haven't seen any list that use Cheat Death, rightfully so. Maybe I'm looking to build like an all skeleton list. However, this list would require a lot of second talents, so I don't have all of the required talents as of yet. I need to upgrade so many troops to rare to have a second talent slot, such as maybe the meat wagon and stuff like so, to spawn some extra skeletons. And I don't think the deck would work. I'm not even sure the deck would work, but if it does work, it needs all of those talents. So yeah, I think Cheat Death just, you know what, for me, I think it's even worse than our Warsong Grunt, which I believe they're called. Okay, Core Hounds. This is going to be a hot take here. I think Core Hounds are great. I think they are A tier. This is the biggest hot take because they cost 6. Okay, let me explain, right? So I played the Core Hounds in my Alliance Tyrian healing list. So go check out that video if you guys want to. This is my favorite list. So what I do in this list is I play Core Hound and I play the Footman, okay? And I'm going to swap between the two depending on what your opponent is playing. If your opponent, because the Core Hounds have the resistant trait, which means they take less damage from elemental damage, while the Footmen, which are to be top of A tier, and the Footmen have armored, right? So if your opponent is playing something that does physical damage, you play the Footmen. If your opponent is playing something that does elemental damage, you play the Core Hounds, okay? So for the Core Hounds, I'm playing the talent where their resurrection range is unlimited. So the Core Hound have an ability where if one died, the other one can resurrect it by like screaming or whatnot. And one of the talent has that range unlimited. But there's a bug in the game, okay? I think they fixed a little bit of it. But now, if one of your if one of the Core Hound is low ground, the other one is high ground, it's not going to work. You have them to be, you need both of them to be on the same level, and then it's going to work. So just please keep that in mind. But yeah, I think Core Hounds are really, really good. They're not top of A tier, probably bottom of A tier, maybe top of B. I don't know, but like I think they're much better than what people have been saying they are. I think I'm comfortable putting them bottom of A tier, and you guys will see with the meta. I'm sure this is people are going to see more and more Core Hounds in game. The Dark Iron Miner. Dark Iron Miner is a unique one for sure. I see some people play it, but it's pretty rare. Not even in some unbound list. I don't see it much. I think I'm going to have to put it in the B tier. I guess B tier is like it's not a horrible tier, okay? I think it's like playable, but it's rare, and it's not what makes a deck really powerful. Unlike our next unit, the Darkspear Troll, which is definitely, I'm gonna put the Darkspear Troll S tier. I think Dark Spirit Troll deals so much damage, especially when you pair it with the talent that has where he gets increased healing. Making the Dark Spirit Troll just incredible and really hard to kill. Like you're gonna chain lightning him. He's still gonna be alive. He's gonna go back to full health with that talent. He's really good to counter all air units. So basically, Dark Spirit Troll by itself can make you win some matchup against some red black hand, stuff like that. In the meta, we also have some gargoyles. Gargoyles are obviously armored, but Dark Spirit Troll just deals so much damage that it's even good against that. Yeah, I'm confident with putting Dark Spirit Troll top of S tier. I think he fits in so many. Well, sorry, bottom of S tier. I think he fits in so many decks. He's really good. Yeah, next up we have the Defias Bandit here. To me, the Defias Bandit are also S tier. I think they're so good for 1 gold. The amount of value you can get. They stun. They are cloaked, so it's really hard to deal with them. If you have the talent, the Picklock talent, they're going to give you so much more gold when they take a chest. There's just so much value. Just the fact that you can cycle it for 1 gold to something else is crazy. Defensively, it's incredible. You don't need to pair the Defias Bandit with much other things to defend a big push. So yeah, Defias Bandit is really easy to get some good value. It's extremely rare. You're not going to get value at all. So yeah, I think they're S tier as well. Next up, we have the Drake. The Drake, to me, I think is bottom of B tier, actually. I think it's even worse than the Bat Rider. The problem with the Drake is that it's an air unit, obviously, so you would like to play it in the Ren Blackhand list. However, the Ren Blackhand list already have Ren Blackhand, which is basically a Drake already. So having 2 of the same... I don't think is really good. You're better off playing some other stuff, some other air units. Even some ground units are better in that list, which is unfortunate because to me, that would be the only room for the Drake. You know what? Maybe I'll put in the C tier. For now, I'll leave it at the bottom of the B tier. Next up, we have the Earth Elemental. I think it's extremely safe to say that Earth Elemental is either S or A tier. I'm going to put it top of A tier right now. So the Earth Elemental just gets so much value by just putting so much pressure on your opponent. If your opponent doesn't have gold, you drop an Earth Elemental with just like you have a few Murlocs, a few Skeletons, stuff like that. You're going to deal so much damage. He's such a big tank. I believe he's also armored, which makes him extremely tough to deal with. So yeah, Earth Elemental, one of the best unbound units. There's only one better unbound units, and it's the Quillbore, so I guess we'll touch him now. So I'm going to put the Quillbore top of S tier. Quillbore is great. It's great to harass the backline. If your opponent has, like, I don't know, a Pyromancer or something like that, and he's going to destroy, let's say, your Footman, well, you could just play the Quillbore behind on that Pyromancer, on that big backline mini. So yeah, the Quillbore just gets so much value. You could basically distract enemies to reposition your army the way you want to. So Quillbore, really good. Okay, next up we have Execute. Execute to me is an okay spell. The issue with Execute is that it doesn't have really some good talents, which is very unfortunate. But by itself, I think Execute has some good value. It has some very good value in PvE. In PvP, it's good to like cycle and stuff. But I'm gonna have to put it probably in the B tier, better than the Drake. Yeah, better than the Bat Rider, better than... Yeah, somewhere here, I would say. Tough to say. Here we have, I think it's the Flame Elemental, it's called. Or Fire Elemental. I think this unit is pretty good, especially in a general Drakisoth list, an Elemental list. I also played in my Ren Blackhand list. It's one of my only ground units in that list. So I think I'm going to put it... yeah, B tier, under or above Abomination, I think. Is that fair to say? I think that's fair to say. If I look at the A tier, it doesn't fit there, so it's probably somewhere here. Arcane Blast is worse. So, yeah, let's put it under Abomination. So there's some decks with Abominations. Yeah, but the whole Abomination is played only in Abomination lists, which right now is like the spell cycle with Thalnos. Yeah, so Banshee has a little bit more value, so I think right now all of that makes sense. Now we'll drop the Drake 1 tier. I'm sorry for the Drake Enjoyer. You know what? You know what? The thing is, like, Battle Rider has so much more value than these two. For 2, can deal with some Footmen, some stuff like that. So I think we're safe here. This is the Fire Hammer or Flame Hammer. So I keep mistaking Fire and Flame. I think this is a great unit. I think this is much better than a lot of our B tier here. I'm going to have to put it... I'm going to put it above our Abomination here, under our Banshee. I think it's played a little bit less than our Banshee. However, once again, in a general Drag South list, it's really, really good. It has Fury, so it does more damage every time it attacks, or it attacks faster. Yeah, very good. Next up, we have the Flame Waker, which once again is going to have to be in the B tier. We're going to put the Flame Waker. We're going to put it right here between our Fire Elemental and our Abomination. This is a great unit. The issue is it doesn't attack air, so it gets countered by basically like vultures and stuff like that. So it has a lot of stuff that can counter the Flame Waker. Yeah, once again, I like to play it in some deck, but this is the type of minis that could be cut. Once we see more minis coming out, I think the Flame Waker will see less and less value, unfortunately. Yeah. Next up, we have the Gargoyle, and it's S tier. I don't care. I love the Gargoyle. I think it's super good. I just did a video on Baron Riffin, their list that uses Gargoyle to like split push in another lane. The Gargoyle is really, really good. You pair it with the Wing Buffet Talon. It's going to deal so much damage to a turret. Yeah, I think Gargoyle is definitely S tier. Is it better than the Quillbore? I don't know. I think I'm fine with my S and my A tier right now. I think we're doing pretty well here. Next up, we have the Ghoul. This might also be a hot take as well, but I think it's also an S tier or A tier. It's Earth Elemental is really good, so I think it's hard to put it above the Earth Elemental. So I'm gonna put it here, right under the Earth Elemental. Also very good. The Ghoul is really good for 2 gold. With the different talents we have, it's gonna stay alive so long for just 2 gold. It creates so much value. Obviously, try to pair it with something else, but in defense, it's just so freaking good, guys. So yeah, one of my favorite units as well. Yeah, so I'm gonna put it right here. I'm fine with that. The Gnoll Brute. At first, I thought the Gnoll Brute was gonna be good, but unfortunately, it's definitely like a C tier. I think it has more value than the Drake, but less than the Chicken Army. So I think I'm gonna have to reorganize this a little bit. Yeah, like that. Yeah, Gnoll Brute is just not really good. It gets countered by a lot of stuff. If you have, I think like a Ghoul basically counters a Gnoll Brute, or at least in defense. And then if you have some so basically Gnoll Brute, the issue with the Gnoll Brute is that it does a lot of things, but does nothing great in my opinion. So it's a tank that does splash damage, a tank that does damage but doesn't do much damage, and doesn't tank that much. While the Ghoul does less damage but tanks really well. So you're better off playing like a Ghoul and something else. The Gnoll Brute is the type of unit you would want to play alone, but then if your opponent plays air unit, you get destroyed. For 3 gold, it's hard to justify I took the talent that reduces its cost by 1, but even then it's not great, so I'm going to have to put in the C tier, even though I love the mini. Next up, the Safe Pilot. The Safe Pilot is an unbound unit, but I see it more as a spell. I think the Safe Pilot has to be in the A tier, right? It gets so much value. It got nerfed a little bit with the change recently where Tower can now detect stealth, but I still believe it's in the A tier, so I'm gonna put it bottom of A tier. You know what? I'm gonna put it above Core Hounds. I said Core Hounds is gonna. I said earlier Core Hounds is gonna be bottom of A tier. Yeah, so if I want to do that, I'm going to have to put maybe the Safe Pilot. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to put it above the Chain Lightning. Right now, it deals just so much damage, and it's so good in the current meta. Plus, it spawns the Safe Pilot afterwards, so I think I'm very comfortable playing the Safe Pilot here. Next up, we have the Goblin Sappers. Goblin Sappers are pretty good minis. They're better right now in PvP because now we have a second turret on the map. So I think they're better. They're good in siege lists with Sneed. So you know what? I'm going to put them B tier, but I think they're better than Banshees, actually. I love them a lot. I think it's really hard to deal with them. If you have like a gold advantage, your opponent is not going to be able to do anything. They deal so much damage. Yeah, we're putting the B tier. Now, the Griffin Rider. Griffin Rider also goes in the A tier. To me, Griffin Rider goes probably between the Safe Pilot and the Footman. Griffin Rider is really good for 2 gold. Compared with the Bat Rider, it's just so much better. I played the talent where it gains Fury, so it's going to deal just so much damage. It's so good in defense for just 2 gold. It's crazy what you can do with it, especially if you pair it with the Quillboar. You're going to be able to defend against those rage units that can attack air. And if you're able to clear those air or those counter air units, the Griffin Rider is going to get so much value, making it crazy good. And it's the same for our next mini, which is the Harpies, which go in the S tier. I think they're even better than the Gargoyle. The Harpies deals so much damage. They're crazy good. They can deal with their Gargoyle, with any ground units as well, really well. Obviously, once again, you have to deal with whatever there's in the back line trying to destroy those Harpies. So, yeah, pair it with a Quillboar. That's a crazy good combo. It's like the minor minion combo in Clash Royale for you guys that are familiar with that game. Yeah, I think I'm gonna drop my Dark Spirit Troll a little bit here, maybe here, and the Blizzard as well. I'm gonna put my Quillboar here. I'm gonna bump up our Harpies here. Yeah, I think this looks great. Next up, I apologize. How is it called? It's how is it called? Let me find that the name of that unit. The Harvest. Okay. All right. Next up, we have the Harvest Golem. To me, Harvest Golem has to go in the B tier. It's fine. I think it's not great. If I'm looking at the B tier, there's a lot of things that are better. I think it has to go like probably somewhere here. You know what? I think we're going to reorganize once again. We're going to put the Harvest Golem here, but we're going to put the Flame Waker just behind it. I think the Harvest Golem has a little bit more value than the Flame Waker. The issue is it's a good unit, but we're going to play something else instead that's just better. Yeah. Yep, I think I'm fine with the Harvest Golem here. Next up, we have Holy Nova. So Holy Nova is not really played at all. I think I'm going to have to put it top of C tier. Holy Nova is played in basically a spell, Thalnos spell cycle list right now. And perhaps in an elemental list with General Draxath. But yeah, it's not really great. It's, yeah. Gonna have to put it in the C tier. I think it should be buffed maybe a little bit. I don't know. Next up, we have, the Living Bomb here. So the Living Bomb to me has to go in the C or buff please tier. Let's put it in C. I don't want to get roasted too much here, but I think it's just too expensive. I think it's too expensive here. It's what, 6 gold, 6 gold to destroy a whole push, right? So it destroys a whole push. That's great. But if your opponent does any split push at all, you're gonna spend just too much gold defending with the Living Bomb. Like I mentioned earlier, you could defend with like your Defense Bandit, some Harpies, a Quillbore, stuff like that. And for what? That's also 6 for that exact same amount of gold. You're gonna then have like a counter push or something going on. So yeah, I think the Living Bomb is only good the first time you play it in a match if your opponent doesn't know you have it. But once he knows, you can split these units, and then it's just very, very bad. The Meat Wagon. I love the Meat Wagon, but I have to put it in the B tier right now in the current meta. It's not great. I'm going to put it here under Arcane Blast. I think Arcane Blast has a little bit more value. It just doesn't do enough. It's too slow. It gets countered by everything. If you just play the Meat Wagon by itself, you're going to be screwed. It's not going to do anything at all. So, yeah, I'm fine with here. Molten Giant. I think the Molten Giant goes in the B tier as well. I think we're going to put the Molten Giant... I'm going to put it next to Abomination. I think like you can interchange any of these two together. I just think Abomination has a little bit more value right now. So, yeah. Mountaineer. Buff, please. I think it's horrible. It has to go to 5 gold. It's just not a good unit right now in the meta, unfortunately. Yeah, not gonna spend too much time on it. The Murloc Tidehunters, I believe, are A or S tier. So I'm going to put it just under the Earth Elemental, I believe. So they are really, really good. I like to play them to split them. And I played a Talon where there's a third one that spawns. I think the Murloc Tidehunters has so much value. They're really easy to kill, but if you want to kill them, you have to use like Chain Lightning or something like that if you want to use the spell. And then like your opponent didn't get any advantage by using the Chain Lightning. Because it's 2 gold for 2. But if you pair it once again with a Quillbore or with the Earth Elemental, it's going to apply so much pressure, and your opponent is not going to know what to do against the Murlocs. We then have the Necromancer. The Necromancer is going to go B tier once again. You know what? I think we're going to put it a little bit higher. It's not played. It's played just as much as probably the Banshee. Or a little bit less than a Banshee, actually. But I think it's better than the Banshee because it's really good in that Gargoyle split lane Baron push. Yeah, and also a Necromancer can deal with the Gargoyle by itself, which is very prominent right now in the meta. So I think the Necromancer has its place at the top of the B tier. Okay, we're going to have to bump our Bat Rider, our Dark Iron, and our... I don't feel comfortable dropping the Execute. So, you know what? I don't think Execute is better. I think Execute is as good as Arcane Blast probably. And these two are played more than the Flame Waker. And more than the Harvest Golem. I think this is a good reorganization here. The Ogre Mage. This is a tough one. Doesn't go in A. Has to go in B once again. The Ogre Mage is going to have to be between the 2 spells, I believe. I think that's a safe place to put it. It's better when you have the Frost talent, but it's not great. The Plague Farmer, buff please. I think it's horrible for 2. It does nothing. Sometimes it tosses its poison so slowly that it doesn't even hit the enemy. I think this needs some kind of a buff. Maybe it's a damage buff. I'm not sure. I don't know. Let's do a buff, please. Polymorph here. Polymorph has some good value. I think we're going to have to put it in the A tier. I think Polymorph is really good in some lists. If you're playing against like a Tyrion Footman healing list, it's going to be extremely hard to deal with all of the healing, and Polymorph is basically the only thing that can deal with like, I don't know, a wave of Footmen and 2 Tyrions. So yeah, Polymorph is better than Blizzard in that case, but in a lot of other cases, it's just not as good. The talents are too great in my opinion, but I think it's still pretty good. So I'm going to put it bottom of A tier, just above, under the Corehounds. I think it's the Prowler, right? I don't want to, let me double check here. The Prowler, yes, the Prowler is a good unit. Has to be probably here, top of B tier. It can get some good value. It dashes. It's really hard to deal with, especially in defense. You want to try, if you want to try to defend against a Prowler, you're going to place your unit in the square by the time the Prowler arrives, and it's really hard to time it so that the Prowler doesn't connect to the tower and connects to your unit, the tank, let's say with like a ghoul. Plus it charges on some enemies sometimes it's going to get some really good value by just destroying a very important target. Yeah, I think the Prowler's pretty good. So the Blackrock Pyromancer, I believe, goes probably A tier because it's the best probably splash me in the game. It's really good to deal with, like I mentioned earlier, those footmens, those stuff like that. It's good to deal with like gargoyles even if you play the Pyroblast talent. So yeah, I'm gonna put it A tier. I could even put it, I think it's better than Corehounds once again. And better than Chain Lightning. Yeah, I think we are in a good position here. So really, really good mini. Yeah, next up we have the Raptors. They suck. They go into please buff. I haven't really organized the buff please tier. They all deserve a buff. That's it. The Frostful Shaman goes in the A tier, right under the Blackrock Pyromancer. The value of the healing is just incredible. I think it's a great healing unit in the game. Yeah, I'm confident putting it in the E tier. Then we have the Skeletons. The Skeletons, to me, are C tier units. Probably, let's put it just over the Living Bomb. I think they are one of the worst unbound units right now in the game, unfortunately. And I think it's the same for the Skeleton army or party. I think they're probably about at the same place right now. Once again, I think they're maybe going to fit in like that cheat death skeleton list. But yeah, I don't think I can justify putting them higher. I've never been afraid of an opponent playing some skeletons. So yeah. Then Smoke Bomb. This is a 1 gold spell. It's not good. It has to go C or buff, please. The best aspect of this spell is the fact that it's 1 gold, so you can cycle. But I think that's enough to justify putting it B, nonetheless C. I'm gonna put in the buff, please. The Spiderlings, I'm gonna put in bottom of C. I don't think it's as bad as people think. No one is playing it. I've never seen someone play it. But yeah, it's not as bad as people think. Because poison can be really good to deal with, like abominations, stuff that are armored, stuff like that. But I don't think right now they shine in the meta too much. Then we have the Stonehoof Tauren. Goes A tier, goes probably here. Great unit, just has so much value. The charge is immense for 4 gold. The amount of value from this unit is crazy. You could do a good defense and then create a pretty good offense with the Stonehoof Taurens. So yeah, I'm very confident putting it in the A tier. We have the Vulture, which are diet harpies. I'm going to put them in the B or C tier. I'm going to put them in the C tier. I'm going to put them just under the Bat Rider here. I think they're fine actually, but the issue is that they're flying units. You would want to play them in a red blackened list, but they won't get the discount, so they don't even fit in that list. And any other list you would like to play them, you're better off playing the Harpies. So yeah, the Warsong Raider is a great siege unit. Gonna have to put it in the A tier. I'm going to put it over the Footmen's, over the Ghoul. Yeah, great unit, especially if you have the Raising Focus talent, which makes her ignore all other meaties and go strictly for the tower. This is a great unit. Yeah. The Whelps are also very good units, played in a lot of decks, not even just Red Black Hands list. By that alone, they deserve a spot in the A tier. Bottom of A tier, I think, is perfect. Maybe just above the Polymorph. Yeah. And then for our final unit here, we have the Worgen, which is another Unbound unit. Really good to take down the backline once again. So to me, this is very similar to the Prowler. I think it's just better a little bit. So I'm going to have to put it in the top of the B tier. Yeah, how are we looking here? I think I'm fairly confident with our tier list here. So S and A tier are all the units you guys should prioritize, in my opinion. And then if there's some units you love in the B tier, you could go ahead and upgrade those. Here we have another spell which hasn't released yet, but is in the file of the game. So yeah, we can't really place it right now. But yeah, I want to see some buffs. Do I want to see some nerfs? Perhaps. Not really. I think the game is fairly balanced, actually. Plus, with the maps and stuff, like the meta changes constantly. Yeah, I think I'm very confident with our tier list here. Guys, please feel free to tell me what you guys think. Is there some stuff that are too low, some stuff that are too high? I think I did a fairly good job. I know you guys are going to be mad about the Core Hound placement. I think Core Hounds are much better than what people think. But yeah, so yeah, tell me down below. Also, tell me guys what you guys want to see next on the channel. I'm going to do so much more videos. I already have some ideas, but tell me if you guys have some others. And please share me your decks if you have some good decks you want me to feature on the channel as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.